Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. The Modi government came to power in 2014 on the basis of a number of promises and catchy slogans, one of which was minimum government and maximum governance. This slogan, this promise was music to the ears of a common man harassed by unending corruption, red tapeism and Babu's all-powerful, not accountable. It was not that by having minimum government, Modi was going to close down government departments or he was going to sack or retrench Babus en masse. That is not what it was meant to be. It was meant to be, according to us, that the number of laws that apply to you in your daily lives, livelihood and business, and the amount of compliances you do, the number of returns that you file, the number of forms that are to be uploaded, they would get reduced. It would be made lighter. It was also thought that minimum government would mean that unnecessary surveillance and intrusion in your daily lives by the government would be avoided. The Modi government started with a bang. In the very first month of coming to power in 2014, it removed about 1500 laws from the constitution, from the rule book. It removed laws which, according to us, were archaic, obsolete, outdated, redundant, no longer needed, but it did remove them. So almost 1500 laws were taken off the rule book. But as I said, they were obsolete. They included a law which said that the maximum fees for a boat ride on the Ganga has to be 2 annas. Ever heard of that? Yet another said that car inspectors must compulsorily brush their teeth. Another law that was removed at that time said that kites and aeroplanes, they were equated and you needed a permission to fly a kite. So those kind of regulations got weeded out. What did not get weeded out was unwanted rules, regulations that harass us in our daily lives, livelihood, business. Those business laws, those corporate laws whose compliance is very costly and onerous. They were neither reduced, they in fact were increased. Thus, the company law, which all corporates are subjected to, only became heavier and heavier in compliance. More and more rules and regulations were introduced. More and more complicated forms were introduced. And if you did not comply with them, automatic system-generated penalty and prosecution commenced, even if your non-compliance was because of very bona fide reasons. And after that penalty and prosecution, you also had automatic closure of companies. So somebody may have without any intention, not done some compliance or not filed some innocuous form, and he yet faced a sudden closure of his company. Hundreds of thousands of companies have actually got closed in that manner, only troubling the poor entrepreneur. So corporate law did not get lighter, it only became heavier. So was the case with tax laws. The returns that we file today have become heavier and heavier in content in terms of the information that we give, in terms of the compliance we do. And as if that was not enough, came a highly complicated GST with highly complicated, complex and Byzantine forms to be filled, which few entrepreneurs actually even understood. Even the cost of compliance was so high, they had to engage expensive consultants. And what was noticed was, a lot of the time of the entrepreneur went off in such compliance in order to ward off any penalty, prosecution or company closure, and he lost his valuable time in this compliance and he could not conduct his business profitably. A lot of businesses in the process, they just went down in size and profitability. The common man lost out. This kind of minimum government is not what was thought would come. What was thought was laws would become lighter. But the government had a very good excuse to make them stronger and heavier. And that was all the corporate frauds and Ponzi's that we are witnessing. If an ILFS broke out into a major fraud, if a Jet Airways turns out to be another fraud, if big corporate frauds like Bush and Steel have taken place, the government's natural reaction was to only make laws more and more tougher, more and more heavier, more and more difficult to comply with. So the government had an excuse to make laws even more tougher. Yet another reason we see that these laws became more complicated was The government failed to fulfill its promise of bringing back that 15 lakhs per person of black money from abroad. And in order to compensate that failed promise, tax laws only became more and more tougher as the government sought to somehow pull out black money from the system, even though it did not really succeed in pulling the black money out, but the laws only became more and more tougher. The reality is that there is a close relationship between the Babu, who we would call the Sahib, and the politician, who is the Neta. The Neta makes the laws, the Babu enforces them. They are both supposed to be public servants. In reality, they are not. They lord over us. The Babu and the Neta are supposed to keep a cross-check on each other. And that cross-check is very important because the inherent nature of a Babu is to have more and more laws, more and more forms to be filled, more and more situations where penalty and prosecution be levied. Because by having such tough and onerous laws, the power of a Babu increases, and for those who choose to be corrupt, their avenues for making bribes also shoot up. So a Babu is naturally programmed towards heavy-handed regulation. It is a Neta who's supposed to keep a check on the Babu, for the simple reason that the Neta is supposed to be in touch with his constituency. He's supposed to be in touch with the common man, and he's supposed to prevent the formulation of such laws which are going to harass the common man. But we have been seeing that this check is missing. This check of the Neta on the Sahib, which is the Babu, is missing today. And that has to do with a powerful government at the center. We today have a party which has a virtual monopoly in India, and we also have leader in the party who has a monopoly on the party. In the process of that, the Netas who are coming up have no voice in the party, they have no voice in the parliament. They also are weak leaders who have got no connect with the common man. They probably don't even know the ground reality. They are not even in touch with the Babu to understand what is coming up. As a result of that, the Babu is uncontrolled. He has a free hand, and we are seeing that. You'll see the last session of the parliament, so many laws got passed just without any discussion. The Neta doesn't even know what is there in the laws, and the Neta has not even gone through them to see whether the laws are going to trouble the common man or not, and whether they must not be passed in that form and whether they must be amended. That did not get done by the Neta at all. So these laws which are getting passed in numbers only strengthen the hands of the Babu. It only increases the reach of the bureaucracy, and it comes with penalty and prosecution. The recent one of prosecution for non-compliance with CSR regulations under the Companies Act has raised a hue and cry. If for some reason you are not able to meet your CSR commitments, you can go to jail. That doesn't make sense. But the Neta never kept a check on the Babu before this kind of a law came. So we are seeing the situation where we have an all-powerful Sahib, which is the Babu, a weak Neta, and the common man who's a Ghulam of the system. And in the process, he's losing his livelihood, he's seeing the decimation of his business, and the common man is only becoming weaker and weaker. We are in a regime of a powerful Sahib, a weak Neta, and a Ghulam common man. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
HW News Network today is a year and a half old. Thanks to your support, thanks to your love, we've grown. We require your support a little more. What we request you to do is to download our free app. Our app is in Hindi, English and Marathi. We promise to update you with the latest news, views, analysis, interview. We also have a live TV going in that. If you download our app, we will get advertisers. And if we get advertisers, we'll get revenue. We get revenue, we can serve you better. So once again, please do support us. Please download our app. Namaskar.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.